be honest. Some men carry a darkness so heavy, you wonder if they're hiding horns beneath that charming grin. Ever feel drained, just sharing a room with them, like you need a hard reset to clear their shadow? You're not losing it. Sometimes, it's not just a bad vibe, it's a calculated strike on your peace. The worst part, you actually like them. You trust them, until you realize you're playing chess with a devil who hands you a drink and says, "Your move." Brother, today, I'll reveal 5 unmistakable signs someone in your life isn't sent by angels. They're spiritual saboteurs, here to erode your calm, chip away at your worth, and make you question your own mind. Grab your coffee or something stronger and settle in, because spotting these signs could spare you years of regret and a few therapy bills. If you're ready to see through the mask, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment saying, "I see the signs. Let's shine a light on the shadows together." First up, they push you to stumble. We all know perfection's a myth. We trip. We fall. Sometimes we choose the muddy path ourselves. A wise man owns his mistakes. A fool denies them. The real question is how the men around you react when you falter. A true brother doesn't cheer your stumble. He pulls you up, even if it stings, because he wants you to stand tall. They know real loyalty means showing you the truth, no matter how much it burns. But there's a darker breed out there. They're not the loud troublemakers you can spot and dodge. No, they're wolves in tailored suits, hiding their intent behind charm and warmth. They pose as your closest ally, your drinking buddy, the guy who gets you like no one else. Their weapon is subtlety. They don't tell you to wreck your life outright. They clap when you do it yourself. Picture this. You're trying to get your health in check, eating clean, cutting out the whiskey and sugar. Then your buddy smirks and says, "Come on, man, live a little. You're no fun anymore." They're the first to shove a slice of cake in your face at the barbecue, the first to pour you a drink after you've said no. They make you question your goals, turning discipline into something rigid or selfish. I knew a guy like this once. Call him Jack. Jack was smooth as bourbon. Everyone loved being around him. He had this sharp wit that could lighten any room. When I was kicking liquor, trying to rebuild my life, he was the first to say, "You're doing great, man, but one drink won't hurt. You've earned it." He'd slide a glass my way before I could object, toasting with that easy grin. At first, I thought it was brotherhood. I convinced myself he was cheering me on in his own way. But one night, after a bender, I swore I'd never repeat. It hit me. He didn't want me strong. He needed me weak. My sobriety forced him to face his own demons. As long as I kept drinking, he didn't have to look in the mirror. That's their game. They don't just tolerate your failures, they crave them. Your stumbles justify their choices. Misery loves company, but it loves a controllable companion. They can't admit they're lost, so they drag you into the fog. They're masters at dressing it up as kindness. They don't shout, "Go be reckless." Instead, they murmur, "Don't be so hard on yourself." Right as you're teetering on old mistakes. The danger isn't just that moment, it's how they erode your resolve, chipping away at the man you're trying to become. As Epictetus taught, your mind is your fortress, and you must guard it fiercely. These men want your gates flung open, your defenses down. Once you start justifying small compromises, they'll lead you further astray. The tragedy. They're not always comic book villains. Many are just as lost as you might feel. They fear change, so they sabotage those who dare try. They could be your brother, your spouse, an old friend, someone who knows your weaknesses and uses your trust to slip past your guard. Stoicism teaches us to face truth without flinching. No excuses or illusions. You set boundaries calmly but firmly. Choose which conversations to have, which temptations to reject, which invitations to decline. If needed, you walk away, protecting your mind, your dignity, your peace. That's not selfish. It's essential. I'm not here to make you paranoid, but to arm you with clarity. Think of that guy in your life who cheers when you trade your values for comfort, who applauds your worst mistakes under the guise of friendship. Spotting them is step one. Next, we'll talk about setting boundaries clear, respectful, unbreakable, no matter who they are to you, because love doesn't mean letting them drag you into darkness. Sign 2. They dismiss your feelings and manipulate with deception. The worst manipulations don't look like control. They masquerade as care, love, even loyalty. That's the chilling truth too many learn too late. These tactics aren't the loud cruelty that sends you running. They're subtle twists, deliberate, pulling you off your path until you barely recognize yourself. Many of us have lived this, blaming our sensitivity or beating ourselves up for not being understanding enough. It starts when someone makes you doubt your own judgment. They'll say, "You're overreacting," or "You're too sensitive," until your gut starts second-guessing itself. Maybe you tried opening up about a toxic friendship or relationship, but instead of listening, they shut your feelings down completely. Worse, they might insist they're protecting you while controlling who you see, where you go, how you spend your time. No threats, no loud arguments, just a quiet persistence that they know better, that your happiness depends on following their lead. This manipulation is brutal because it doesn't feel like control at first. It feels like genuine care. I've seen men in their 50-second and 60-second, sharp in every other way, tiptoe around someone they trust, shrinking their world to avoid upsetting them. They ditch old friends to keep the peace. They skip family gatherings to avoid trouble. Slowly, their world shrinks to just the manipulator's voice echoing in their head. This isn't an accident, it's a cold, calculated play. Their goal isn't to push you off a cliff, but to nudge you off course, step by step, until you're lost without even knowing how you got there. Manipulators don't settle for freely given loyalty. They crave control, a devotion they can steer. They frame their perspective as the only truth, warping reality until you doubt your own mind. They don't threaten outright. They use subtle, almost kind coercion. "I'm just trying to help you. Man, you know I've got your back. Nobody gets you like I do." Over time, you stop challenging them, not because you agree, but because you're too worn out to fight their endless debate over what's real. The Stoics offer a clear-eyed way to face this. They teach that while you can't control others' actions, you must fiercely guard your own mind. Epictetus said, "We're not disturbed by things, but by how we view them." Manipulators want to hijack that view, convincing you their reality is the only one. The antidote is vigilance. See their game and hold fast to your reason. It's not easy, especially when the manipulator is someone you care about deeply. It means relearning to trust your own instincts and honoring your boundaries, even if they call you cold or selfish. It means seeking relationships built on mutual respect, where disagreement isn't punished, and your self-control is valued, not feared. If you spot these signs in your life, don't beat yourself up. Manipulation is designed to be invisible. The fact that you're starting to see it is the first critical step toward reclaiming your peace. Next, we'll cover practical strategies to set firm boundaries without cruelty, because the truth is, protecting your mind isn't just self-defense. It's a profound act of self-respect and duty to the life you're building. Sign 3. They sow conflict and division. The worst damage isn't done by loud enemies who threaten openly. It's the so-called friends who pull you close with care, only to quietly plant seeds of doubt and discord. They're masters of subtle sabotage. They weaponize your confidences, turning your trust into ammunition for cracks that become chasms. By the time you see the damage, they're already playing the loyal friend. Their hands clean. Their concern, a performance. Here's how they work. They position themselves as your biggest ally, urging you to open up, acting like a safe harbor in a storm. But every word you share becomes a tool, carefully chosen for manipulation. They twist your fears into betrayals, fan conflicts, and stay spotless while chaos spreads. They thrive on the chaos and division they create, because it makes them the center of your world, the indispensable advisor, the mediator you can't do without. Their damage isn't always loud. It spreads through whispers, sidelong glances, and perfectly timed suggestions that make you question motives and loyalties. This isn't just gossip or immaturity, it's a deep form of control. By inserting themselves between your relationships, these manipulators ensure they hold the reins, deciding who's right, who's wrong, who's trustworthy, and who isn't. Make no mistake, they don't just target casual friendships. Their favorite prey is marriages, families, lifelong bonds, anything strong enough to threaten their grip. Psychologically, they're driven by insecurity and a need to feel essential. They can't stand others having healthy, independent ties because it pushes them out of the spotlight. By sowing division, they create dependency. You turn to them for advice, for clarity, for peace, and they're happy to give just enough to keep the cycle going. This is predatory behavior, feeding on your trust, your love, your vulnerability. Marcus Aurelius warned that others' opinions shouldn't rule us, that we must discipline our perspective. This wisdom is vital when facing these subtle troublemakers. You've got to see through their act, even if it hurts to realize a trusted friend isn't safe. It means stepping back and asking, does this guy bring clarity or just stir up chaos? Does he resolve conflicts or feed off them? Is he invested in my well-being? Or does he just want me leaning on him? The solution isn't to play their game, lashing out or trying to outsmart them. That only pulls you deeper into their script. The Stoic response is calm awareness. You limit what you share. You refuse to let them pit you against others. You prioritize direct, honest talk with those you care about. And, if necessary, you create distance, not out of spite, but to protect what matters most. Admitting someone's hurting you in subtle ways isn't weakness. It's strength to see clearly, to guard your peace and demand transparency and respect in your relationships. Next, we'll dive into how to set those boundaries firmly, without apology. Because standing firm in your closest ties isn't just a personal choice, it's a duty to those who trust you most. Sign 4. The emotional vampire. Ever meet someone who seemed like the answer to your prayers? A good buddy, a kind neighbor, a family member who finally gets you. They show up when you're at your lowest, listening, helping, promising loyalty that puts you at ease. But over time, their true nature slips through, not in loud betrayals or angry outbursts, but in small, sinister moves you barely notice. They master spotting your weaknesses and exploiting them, all under the guise of care. They ask probing questions not to help you heal, but to catalog your vulnerabilities. What starts as support turns into an interrogation. I once saw an old friend go through this with a new guy he met at church. At first, the guy seemed like a godsend, carrying groceries, checking in, helping with chores. 40零零零40零大于000041 2000. My friend felt blessed, especially after losing his wife. But over time, I noticed he stopped talking to his grown kids as much. He said they didn't get him like this new guy did. He skipped family dinners to hang out with him. When his kids questioned the guy's motives, he got defensive. He's the only one who's always there for me, he'd say. But the truth was darker. This guy slowly convinced him his kids were selfish, that they didn't really care. He needed my friend isolated to control his world. That's how emotional predators work. They don't flash their claws. They don't snarl or show their teeth. Instead, they play the part of the caring friend, making you trust them by making you feel heard like never before. They become indispensable. The first call when you're down. The first to hear your good news. But with every secret you share, their power grows. With that dependency comes their control. They criticize those who love you, hinting those relationships are toxic. They make you doubt your own judgment. They subtly shame you for spending time with others. Psychologically, they thrive on creating emotional scarcity. By draining your confidence and cutting off other sources of support, they make you crave their approval. You find yourself apologizing for imagined slights, bending to their values to avoid their disappointment, taking blame to keep the peace. The irony, while you're trying to mend the relationship, they don't want to meet you halfway. They want your surrender. It's a one-sided deal that leaves you exhausted, demoralized, and spiritually hollow. The Stoics warn us to stand guard at the gates of our mind and heart. Marcus Aurelius wrote that our minds are colored by our thoughts. When you let these people flood your life with doubt and insecurity, they don't just shift your mood, they reshape who you are. The Stoic solution isn't simple, but it's vital. It means being brutally honest about the impact someone's having on you. It requires seeing the relationship for what it is, not what you wish it was. You must accept that some people can't be reasoned with or saved because they don't want to change. If you feel drained, diminished, or weaker around someone, that's not love or friendship, it's predation. The kindest thing you can do for yourself and them is to step back, reclaim your mind, your peace, and the man you were before their influence. Next, we'll talk about practical ways to build boundaries that protect you without stooping to their manipulative games. The truth is, you don't just deserve to survive these relationships, you deserve to be free. Sign 5. They breed a creeping dread, unease, and gloom. Science backs this up. Anxiety and fear spread like a virus of the mind, infecting even the strongest among us. You don't need to be an anxious man to get caught in their web. Just spend enough time with someone who thrives on fear, who speaks in doomsday terms, and soon their thoughts start bleeding into yours, clouding the man you used to be. They don't come waving red flags. They show up as buddies, confidants, even family, claiming they've got your best interests at heart. Their advice isn't guidance, it's sabotage dressed up as wisdom, amplifying every risk until you're frozen in place. Instead of cheering your ambitions, they question your ability and motives, planting self-doubt like weeds that choke out every decision you make. They don't want your caution, they demand your submission. For men with empathy or a sense of duty, this is especially dangerous. We're taught to listen, to consider others' views, to avoid judging someone as negative when they claim to be honest or realistic. But their so-called realism slowly strangles your hope, making you question the fire that once drove you. This isn't just pessimism, it's psychological control. They craft a world where you need their guidance to survive the dangers they've conjured in your mind. Over time, your courage fades, your willingness to dream, to risk, to stand up for yourself, dwindles. You apologize for wanting more. You start doubting the instincts that once guided you. Worse, you might forget who you were before. The Stoics were clear on this danger. They taught that our thoughts are our only true domain, and we must defend them fiercely. Marcus Aurelius said, "Our minds take the color of the thoughts we allow." When you soak in fear and negativity, it doesn't just stay outside you, it seeps in, staining your choices and reshaping your worldview. This isn't just a mood. It's the theft of your freedom to chart your own path. If you're living smaller than you used to, avoiding risks you once embraced, or seeing the world as nothing but danger and loss, it's time to question the voices you've let in. Are they showing you reality, or trapping you in their fear? Do their warnings free you from illusion, or bind you tighter to their approval? These questions aren't for the faint-hearted, because the answers often reveal betrayal hiding behind a mask of care. The Stoic response isn't to grow cold or numb, but to build clear boundaries for your mind. Choose who gets to speak into your life. Learn to separate caution from paralysis, honesty from cruelty, vigilance from surrender. It means reclaiming your judgment, your decisions, and your right to live as the steward of your own path. Let's move forward, building mental clarity and resilience. Because you deserve more than surviving in fear, you deserve to live with dignity and freedom, mastering your thoughts, no matter who tries to sway you. If any of these signs hit home, stop giving the benefit of the doubt to those who drain your soul like emotional leeches at an open buffet. You weren't born to be anyone's puppet or punching bag. You deserve peace, clarity, and the freedom to walk your own road without toxic whispers in your ear. Spotting these subtle saboteurs is the first step to kicking them out of your life. At the very least, smile, wave, and tell them, "Nice try, but not today." If this resonates or fires you up, don't just sit there. Subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me which sign hit hardest. Let's build a space where we call out these games and stand strong together. Stay sharp, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll keep unmasking the darkness with a laugh and some hard truth